An error occurred. One of the Twitter accounts. Anyways, friends and
X.
enemies.
It's no longer Twitter. That guy paid billions of dollars to change the name to X. It's no longer Twitter.
Yeah, look, sorry about that hiccup here. Technical difficulties on the air. My name is Joey. That's Len. Welcome back to the Canadian Bitcoiners podcast, Monday edition. Len, I don't know what you were doing before the show, but I was watching the the premier's debate on CPAC. Doug, Bonnie, and two people I've never seen before and will probably never see again, debating whether or not Doug should run a spa for $1 billion and whether or not Galen Weston got a $200 check, just like the rest of us. What were you doing before the show? Anything good? Anything exciting?
Not that. I can assure you, definitely not. I don't know why there's no interest I have in the Ontario debate and really the Ontario election as a whole. It seems like it's going to be a slam dunk for who's going to be winning it. It's just a matter of how much is Doug Ford going to win by. Is it going to be like a massive majority or a slim majority?
Yeah.
There's no opposition, it seems like.
No. Crombie, I just was texting a high-ranking community friend that I have and was saying that Bonnie Crombie looks like it's such a screeching harpy on TV. Like every time she gets the mic, she just is screaming into the mic, whining about something. And Ford is, for all the things Ford does that I don't like, he's a good debater in that he just lets the punches roll off of him, and his opponents just look like they're tiring themselves out, screaming about the same things. You're not. How are you gonna? And Ford always says, you guys are talking about all these programs. How are you gonna do it? You're gonna cut everyone's taxes and double the spending on the programs. What's that gonna look like?
Look at it from a different point of view. If you were one of the other candidates, what would be your tactic?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm with you.
I get a job doing something else somewhere else, probably. Honestly,
I'm with you. I don't know what they could do. Really, it's just Liberal Party is still rebuilding after the Kathleen Wynne.
God, what a mess!
And the NDP party is just the NDP party, right?
There's another party there, the Greens, I guess. Is that
they're just party? The Greens, right? They're just there. Right?
It's funny. That guy's always like talking about how it's his turn to chime in, and he reminds me of who's that guy from Office Space with the stapler issue? Wilson, what is that guy's name?
Melvin?
I just want to let you know my stapler.
Is it Melvin or am I wrong?
I don't know. That's what he sounds like, though. He sounds like that guy. He's like, clown show, meek and mild. Also, again, like ill-fitting suits on every person, including the women. Just no money for tailoring in this country. What's going on? Yeah, I should note here. Yeah, P-Man in the chat asking if I'm buried in snow. I have had my snowblower out twice or 3 times in the last 24 hours. So yeah, it was a busy weekend of snow here. Family day here, obviously. I took today off, but didn't have a free day. I'll tell you that, between the snow and entertaining my young daughter. Lots going on here today.
You got to run some water piping, like a loop under your driveway. Hook that up close to an ASIC or multiple ASIC, and free. It's going to melt away. Now, granted, it's going to pool at the very bottom and freeze and create a skating rink, but at least your car will be on solid ground rather than ice and snow. So, yeah.
Did you bust your snowblower out? I mean, we must have got 30 centimeters, 35 centimeters.
No, I did Thursday. It. So my neighbor did it with a snowblower once, but I did it. Nice. I have a shovel and do it old-fashioned way. Me and my daughter. She did a good job. But
good. Shout out to you, Sabrina. Well, let's get into it. As always, big show tonight. Lots to talk about. We'll talk about the sponsors first. Easy DNS. You guys know Mark. You should be using Mark for all your DNS needs. He's your friendly neighborhood registrar. We use him for the CBP website. And we've done both a buy through Mark and a port from someone else. One of you guys actually gave us the Canadian Bitcoiners website. So we've done both. Easy both times. Mark is always willing to help in terms of making sure that you get set up without any problems, get your email set up, get your website, your blog set up. But there's a couple of other important things. Number one, virtual private server stuff. For the Bitcoin enthusiast, everything is available over on EasyDNS. That means you can do Bitcoin nodes, Nostr relays, BTC pay server, node lists, whatever else. Mark's got you. And then the second thing that we talk about on Thursdays on the Access of Easy show, which you should be subscribed to if you're not, is DomainSure. DomainSure is this suite of security features and functions that make sure you don't get rugged by some nefarious actor. Every week on that show, we talk about somebody whose life would have been so much easier if they had just used Mark to protect their domain, make sure they're not being spoofed, make sure they're not having their stuff accessed, all these things. But people still want to use other services. I don't know why. Mark is the best in Silo. Those are the only people we have sponsoring the show. And I recommend you try them out. So go there. CBP Media is the code. Len's got something to say. What do you want to say?
Not the only people. We have a second company sponsoring it.
Yeah, but like he's the best in silo, right? The companies that sponsor us are the best in silo. So yeah, go there. CBP Media is the code. Get half off first round of buys. Load the cart and forget about it. Buy it, and you should be squatting on domains anyways. Like there's 7 billion people on the planet. There's going to be 8 billion by next year or whatever, 2 years from now, whatever that number is. So domains are going to be going fast and furious. Get on one. Mark will help you. Go over and patronize our guy.
Toku Drift Style. Bull Bitcoin is our second sponsor. And Joey, I'm not sure if you've been watching, but the fees are still very low. There's been orphan blocks out there that are being mined because there's just not enough transactions to throw in there. So what I'm trying to get at is it's a good time to buy on chain. And who should you buy on chain Bitcoin from? Well, Bull Bitcoin. If you're in Canada or in Europe, Bull Bitcoin is the best people to buy from because why? They're not custodial. This is what you want in the exchange. You want an exchange that does not hold on to your Bitcoin. When you buy from them, they send it to you right away. So you can't execute a buy from Bull Bitcoin without providing a legitimate Bitcoin address or even illegitimate. It'll just go nowhere, but it's your choice to do that. Either way, if fees do get high, and it will one point in time in the future, can't say when, but it will happen. You could buy Lightning with, so you can buy Bitcoin from Lightning with Bull Bitcoin. Lots of different options over there. You could start spending your Bitcoin a couple of different ways. Number one, pay your bills. Look, Bitcoin's sitting at 95,000. It's just a stable coin right now. What the heck? People have been buying Bitcoin for a long time. We've been saying people should buy Bitcoin. So hopefully you bought Bitcoin for the past few years. You made some massive gains. So with those massive gains, what could you do? You could pay your bills using the Bull Bitcoin bill service. So you could pay your car payment, your credit card payment, whatever the heck. So using your Bitcoin to do that. Second thing, you could buy gift cards with your Bitcoin. And with that, you can start spending your Bitcoin indirectly in the real world because a lot of merchants in Canada do not accept Bitcoin directly. But this is one way to have them accept Bitcoin by using these gift cards. Check them out, open an account. If you do that, use our promo code below. $21 will be added to your account once you provide the necessary information and fund your account. Check them out. We rave about Bull Bitcoin for a reason because they are the best in the game.
Best in silo, man. That's what we do. Let's talk some boosts, then we'll get into some housekeeping stuff.
Yeah, okay. Let's talk about some boosts. So, Anonymous, I wish I could give you a name, but it just says Anonymous, 333 sats. He says, Joey and Len, you guys should check out MSTY. It's an ETF offered by YieldMax, and they do options trading on MSTR. Monthly distributed dividends to shareholders. The dividends have been astronomical and well worth it. I took a look at it in comparison to MSTR, say the past month, the past week. It's really not tracking MSTR exactly. So if the yields are outpacing what your losses are, then all more power to you. But still, this is very fiat. MSTY, it's doing some options trading. It sounds very fiat to me. If you're into that, wonderful. I appreciate the insight and to the recommendation. Joey, I'm not sure if you're interested in that, but I'm just buying corn. That's just me.
I have it up on the screen here. I have not seen this ETF before, but I also just don't. Why not just buy Strike if like STRK? I shouldn't say Strike. It's the MSTR prefers. Why not just buy the prefers if you want the dividend? Because then you can get it in either stock or cash, probably also at some point in Bitcoin, which would be nice. Yeah, all things considered.
Yeah, just another option, I guess, for people that want to take advantage of tax efficient vehicles. But yeah. Anyways, Wartime 3 times submits 333 sats. I'm just going to clump them all together as for one. So one, he says, I always appreciate you guys' content. Very entertaining and fiery. Second, he does a couple of beer mugs to cheers.
Love it.
Third, this one's for you, Joey. He says, chocolate milk. Yes, please. Because you had spilled your milk last week, I believe.
Oh, God.
I kill 1/2 gallon of chocolate milk every couple of days. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's a lot of
1/2 gallon. Get those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers. I'm going through a bag of milk. Yeah, I'm going through almost a bag of milk every day.
But pretty chocolate? Close.
No. I go through a carton of chocolate milk every couple of days. A big one, like one of those 2-liter ones. Yeah, I drink a lot of milk. My physiotherapist, who commented that probably one of the reasons I'm so muscular, not to my own horn, is because of all the milk. I barely eat, like I don't eat that well, but I drink a lot of milk. And it's good for you. Like people, I get that people are like lactose intolerant or whatever, but it's hard for me to imagine a life without milk in terms of just like I love the taste. I mean, you guys see me drinking milk here every week. And by the way, it's not a gimmick. I was drinking milk when there was 5 people watching, and now there's like, some nights 1,000 people. I'm still drinking the milk. I love milk. You're Italian. You don't drink a lot of milk? I've never seen you drink milk.
I like yogurt, cheese. I love cheese.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So don't shy away from dairy. Absolutely.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. Yeah. And
Love
Jordan
my
talking
cheese.
about, I don't also like, this is not related to the podcast content at all, but like, I also don't fart that much. I think farting and intolerance, user error, man. That's, you got to read the instructions.
Well, let's keep moving on. Doug, 521 sats. He says, or writes in, I can confirm the Jade Plus is a total pain in the arse.
Ooh.
Playing about with liquid, it's not Bitcoin, but I have my reasons. So thought being able to hold it offline was a wise move. But holy crap, it is ever awkward. Cold card for the win. This is somebody that has real life experience with the Jade Plus, and it seems like based off this, it's a thumbs down.
We said that last week. Like again, the question for us is like, why spend $250 on that when you spend $300 or $350 on the cold card? That's ultimately the thing you have to answer, I think. If you can't answer it, then you got to go with that better product.
It sounds like for him, he wanted to have the optionality to use liquid as well, and Jade Plus does offer that. But again, like he says, it's not Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Jer 1,000 sats. He says, another banger. Thanks, boys. I think Jer just joined our Discord, which I'll talk about in a moment.
Jer.
And last but not least, John Rubber Factory, another 1,000 stats. Love that name. Thank you, CBP. That's it.
Thank you, John. CBP. Thank you, John Rubber Factory. That's great stuff.
I just want to say really quick before you do the housekeeping, the Discord is rocking these days. Check it out. It's in the link below, and the audio, the video, you'll find it below. But
I'm gonna put it in the chat right now too. I'm gonna
check it out. There's a lot of people
chat.
joining and chatting on there. The discussions are they're organic. People are asking questions, answering them. It's fun.
You can sign in and see where I'm spending my time when it comes to gaming on my computer as well. Spoiler.
Does it show you?
Yeah, it's usually Civ, Age of Empires, or one of the Diablo flavors. I like Project Diablo 2. I don't know if anyone's ever played that or not, but I'm an old school Diablo 2 guy. I think it's a great game. Diablo 4 is okay, but it's kind of it's too brain rot for me. Everything is brain rot. I go on Call of Duty, it's all brain rot levels. You're always dying, people sliding around all sorts of different directions. Anyway, some housekeeping. So last week we had Rich Diaz and Keith Dicker on the show. Great episode. Really like those guys. Rich and Keith have both been on before, but separately. And obviously they both co-host the Looney Hour with Steve Soretsky. I talked to Steve a bit on Twitter after that show, and I'm going to send him some opportunities, some times to come on in March. This week, Scott Wolf is coming to my house Wednesday. I think we're going to record at 11, so that'll be live. I took a day off work for that. Len, I'll be taking him for lunch at a local watering hole afterward on the company dime. And Friday night, I'm on Why Are We Bullish, which I forgot to mention last week. So I'll be doing that Friday night. And then I'm taking a break from interviews for, I don't know, a while, I guess. I don't know, a month.
See you in the fall.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I have nothing to add, Joey.
See you in the fall. Yeah, sure.
Took a while. I have nothing to add if you just want to dive right in.
No, I do want to dive in. Where do you want to start? Can we talk a bit about, like, I don't know if you have this in the notes. I know you sent me the stories this morning. I only half looked at them. I got to be honest. I was kind of busy today. But do you want to talk a bit about this story about Milei and Argentina?
Yeah. Before we go there first, there's something I just want to add. Because these presidents they're shitcoining, right? And I'm not talking strictly about Trump. There's more than just Milei that has been shitcoining. Have you noticed this one, or have you seen this?
Like who? Portnoy?
No, it's a president of, not a president of a company or CEO. We're talking president of a nation. This guy, I assume, was duly elected. His name is William Samoei Ruto. I hope I pronounced it right. He's the president of the Republic of Kenya.
Come on. This is the guy who asked Trump to buy his someone. Who did he ask? Somebody.
Sailor to buy the Kenya coin, which was soon to be released at the time, and on Valentine's Day, February 14th, it was released. Now I'm going to add this in the private chat, Joey. This is a link to X, if you could just pull that up and share the audio. This is the guy trying to. It's his pitch. I'm trying to sell this to the. I want you to, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to listen to this. Fucking,
is this AI?
This is straight from his fucking Twitter account. And after this, tell me, why would you want to buy it? Okay. Play that fucking clip, Joey.
Okay, I'm gonna play it.
Sound up and fucking enjoy.
Hold on. Here we go. Hold on. Can I make it bigger?
Hello, everyone.
Oh, sure.
I am happy to launch Dollar Kenya. Hopefully, it will help my country. We think cryptocurrency is the future, and we truly support it. Hello, everyone.
That's it?
I am happy
That's it. It's going to help his country. How the fuck is this Kenya coin going to help his country?
He's going to sell it for USD. That's how.
So we've crossed the threshold here, Joey, right? We're looking at presidents now shilling crap for what they claim to help their country, right? Anyways, that's him. And that happened around the same time the Milei thing happened, right? This Javier Milei one, remember the afuera memes that came out? He says, this guy just going to cut this and improve that. And he talked about Bitcoin too, right? Somewhere along the lines, he talked about Bitcoin.
He talked about Bitcoin, but you and I, what did we say about that guy? What did we say about him?
Obviously, you got to take reservations here.
Gotta be aware, man. Be aware. He's not the first guy to make these promises, but he won't be the last either. Yeah.
So, and everybody that thought, he's going to do something with Bitcoin with his country, nothing's official yet. I mean, maybe there's something, but I've seen nothing of the sort. So clearly, he's just doing things in the fiat world, in the fiat environment. And let's be honest, like everything is fiat over there in most of the world. So he hasn't really changed much with respect to that. But he came out with this, what was it called? Libra coin. And he was apparently giving support for this shitcoin, this Libra coin. And the market cap from this went as high as $2.5 billion. And in a matter of minutes, dropped to around $200 million. And a lot of people obviously lost quite a bit of money investing in this.
Yeah, is that a lot? Is that a lot?
Well, in terms of the market cap, that's it's
a ton. It's a ton. Yeah.
Yeah. And for wondering what is this coin, obviously it's trash. Like there's no fundamentals behind it. And there was a website that was hastily created moments before it went live. So they decided, let's give it some legitimacy. Let's create a website. But the website wasn't done weeks or months in advance. It was done mere minutes in advance before the thing went live. Then Milei tweeted out that this was a private project aimed to boost Argentina's economy by funding small businesses. How? So this is it. We now have world leaders, we call them that, I guess, doing shitcoining. It's not just Milei, it's the guy also in Kenya as well. Like, this is what we're doing. Trump too, man. We can't even give him the past year. That Trump coin and all this shit. Like, we have these fucking grifters doing what? They're grifting. What the fuck else can I say about this shit? I mean, go right ahead.
What do you think the likelihood is that we've seen the last of a currently elected world leader try and turn on a shitcoin or shit token to quote unquote help his economy? By the way, that video you just sent me to show the Kenyan guy, you could take the text of that, like the transcript, and put it into a DM, and it would look like a scam DM. Help me buy this token. It's going to look like, same with the message he sent to Sailor, or the tweeted at Sailor. That was unbelievable. Like these guys are so detached from reality that they just think that it's normal for a world leader to tweet at a public company CEO about buying a shitcoin. So I think there's probably going to be more of this because it seems like there's no consequences. It's the Wild West right now, especially in the United States with Trump in there. So when people say, "Oh, well, this needs to be punished," I would just ask, by who? Who's going to levy that punishment? Anyone? No.
I believe not from the White House,
not from. Yeah, go.
On the domestic level, I think that Milei is going through some turmoil back home.
He's being sued. I understand as well. Yeah, after this, but I don't know. Like anytime Portnoy is pumping your stock or pumping your coin and telling everyone that it's a buy, that's a sign. Get out. And Portnoy lost, I think, about 4 million in like 45 minutes, something like that. Yeah, quite a bit.
With which coin? Was it the
Libra thing? Yeah.
Oh, he was an investor, quote unquote.
Yeah. I mean, you know what you're getting with Portnoy, or you should, but I guess maybe you didn't. I don't know. It's like I don't have much to say about this except it's not going to be the last time. So strap in. You know, when people say that the bear market has started or we've already hit the top, we're not even close. Stuff like this tells you that the bear market is not here yet. There's still an opportunity to rug people, make money, blah blah blah, all these things on the back end. And by the way, CoffeeZilla has an hour-long show out today or yesterday night. I watched like 15 minutes of it. And he's talking to developers who are basically admitting to financial crimes every 15 minutes in that interview. He admits to at least a handful of them. I would just say that you're in the Tyson zone, like I've said before. You know, to steal one from Bill Simmons, anything is possible. You could say anything to me about any coin and any person running it, and my first instinct would be to believe you.
That's the world we live in right now. You could have the most outrageous story.
Yeah,
it could be totally fabricated, but there may be a hint of truth behind it, or it could be like legitimate. Like we just
look
don't
at Elon.
know.
Elon like popped out another kid with some like right-wing influencer or whatever, St. Clair, who's a bombshell. Good for him. But like my wife was telling me that was a story on some Instagram account 5 months ago, and she like discarded it as not true. And here we are now 5 months later. And like, yeah, it actually was true. So like, you have to take everything in where normally you would say, yeah, I just think this is probably fake. Now it's like the more insane, the more likely there's, like you said, a grain of truth to it, whether it's shit coins or babies out of wedlock, man. It's just like, no matter where you look, anything is possible. What a time to be alive. We're living in the sort of most interesting timeline of any human generation ever.
I think with respect to Bitcoin, everybody should look at what happened with Milei and also, to a degree, what happened with Donald Trump. They may talk about Bitcoin, they may cozy up to quote-unquote Bitcoiners, but when push comes to shove, it seems like they're in it for themselves. They're in it to increase their pocketbooks, like make it fatter, and there's more in it. But with respect to Bitcoin, they just don't give a shit about it. They can understand it, but whatever it is, they're not Bitcoiners. So next time somebody comes out and says, yeah, Bitcoin this, Bitcoin that,
probably not.
just say fuck you. Just say, you know what, whatever, right? Like we even had it here in Canada. We have somebody that's running to become prime minister in the next election. He hasn't said a peep about Bitcoin in 3 years and change.
Yeah.
No, maybe not 3 years and change. 3 years and so like what the heck, right? Like people that just we have set the bar where if anybody talks about Bitcoin, just because you're a politician and you're likely to win and you talk about Bitcoin, that's not a reason to celebrate.
Yeah,
That's just, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
University of Austin, Joey, have you heard about this one?
I haven't, but I do want to talk about this, and I want to talk about some other quote unquote Bitcoin exposure stories. So we go ahead, give it to me.
Okay, I'll start with this, and then you could do the other Bitcoin exposure stories. You could tie it into what you want to talk about then. The University of Austin, they have a partnership now with Unchained, and they came together what is called the first long-term university endowment holding in Bitcoin. And what this means is they're going to put $5 million, and they're going to use that to buy and hold Bitcoin for a minimum of 5 years. 5 and 5. It makes me wonder, does 5 have any significance in all this with the university itself? I don't know. But either way, a 5-year hold is a good strategy, in my opinion, given if you look at the cycles of Bitcoin. And universities in total, United States, have billions of dollars that they're just sitting on. I did a Google search on this, and they said the search told me that in fiscal year 2024, the total endowment market of all universities in the United States is approaching $1 trillion. It's around $830 billion. And they say an average of 1.3 billion per university across every. That's a lot of money out there. And there's a lot of capital that's going to be at their disposal moving forward that they don't want to have their hard work of begging to go lost. So they may start looking at maybe buying some Bitcoin. The university is also going to try to educate folks about Bitcoin, and they're going to be holding events, debates, and guest lectures. And if they need somebody to talk about it, Joey, I guess you and I will be happy to fly to Austin and do so. I'm available. I'm sure you are as well.
Welcome Horns, man. Let's go. That's actually Texas Longhorns, but whatever. Maybe they won't mind.
You might have ruined our chances. Thanks a lot, Joey. So I'm not sure about the university if they're going to be converting cash to Bitcoin directly, or maybe something that's close to Bitcoin, or like an ETF. But either way, there's a donation button I checked on their website, and you could actually donate in Bitcoin right now. And interesting enough, the donate address starts with the number 1. For people unaware, that's a legacy address. It uses way more overhead when you're trying to build a block. So I guess they're using this because it has more functionality or universal acceptance, but still they could use a better address in my opinion. Either way, as for the $5 million buy, like I mentioned, there's no evidence to show what you're going to do with it. If it's going to be straight spot Bitcoin or buy an ETF, I don't know. But either way, the guy that's managing this, from what I gather, its name is Anthony Rosario. I sent out a tweet. I'd love to get him on the show to talk about this at length. And yeah, I think this is very interesting. And it's a matter of time before more universities do this. Like I mentioned, it's almost $1 trillion they're sitting on in cash.
Yeah.
What are they going to do with it? I mean, not just cash. I mean, just in capital. So playing the markets, yeah, but small portion towards Bitcoin, yeah, in my opinion.
Yeah. Okay. So let me define some terms here, and then we'll talk about why this is important and maybe why it's a story or a theme, I should say, to pay attention to. When you think about what an endowment is, and you think about what, a BlackRock or, pick your sort of pick your long-term vehicle, sovereign wealth fund, family office, whatever. Everyone talks about this as institutional adoption, right? Institutions are adopting this as a treasury asset. They're adopting it as an investment vehicle. They're adopting it as a store of value. That's good. No problem there. But that's not really the distinction you should make. The distinction you should make is actually between slow money and fast money. Fast money is guys like you and me, or at our level, I should say, who are retail. They maybe buy the dips and sell the rips. It's, I would argue, cities like Vancouver, maybe even in Mayor Sim's case, that because that HODL strategy is only as good as your budget and your tax revenues. If your tax receipts go down, then you may find yourself in a forced selling position. Miners, I think, are fast money as well, because we talked about how they're forced sellers all the time. The HODL strategies don't produce the same outcome on the equity value side as they used to. So that's the fast money side, right? What we need in Bitcoin is the slow money side. The slow money side is the dynastic generational stuff, the generational thinking, institutions and vehicles that become floor setters for the price. So endowments is a good example. No matter how bad things get at this university, they're never going to dip into their endowment. Like the endowment only grows. No matter how bad things get in sovereign wealth funds, the likelihood that you end up selling, one of your best performing assets after 5 years is fairly low. No matter how bad things could get at family offices, chances are that family office is building wealth for generations. This is why family offices exist, right? It's a tax vehicle more than anything. That's my opinion. So that slow money is what we need in Bitcoin. And we're actually seeing a lot more of it. I know that the YouTube clickbaiters, the low IQ tube clickbaiters are putting stuff up every day. Like this $20 billion giant, this $2 trillion giant is exposed, is this, is that. That's good for the retards. But for the thinking people, the people who watch and listen to this show and their friends and family, you have to think about this a different way. The exposure in slow money is already extremely prevalent. And you may not think about it this way all the time, but you should. And I'm going to tell you exactly what I mean by this. When you think about states, for example, in the US, and we've talked about this over the last, few months, especially, talk about Bitcoin reserves. Like, this state is considering a Bitcoin reserve. And there's some Twitter accounts who do a good job tracking which states are thinking about this. States is whatever. States using this as treasury reserve asset. You have to think about what that means. Treasury reserve is one thing, but I want to just read you a list here of companies that, for example, hold MSTR. This is from Julian Farrer on Twitter. Okay. Arizona State Retirement, $15.4 million. California State Teachers Retirement, $82 million. California Public Employees Retirement, $76 million. Colorado Public Employees Retirement, $5 million. Florida Board of Administration Retirement System, $50 million. Municipal Retirement Fund in Illinois, State Employees Retirement System in Louisiana and Maryland. The Treasurer of the state of North Carolina at $20 million. And the list goes on and on and on. Slow money looking at Bitcoin. They're in MSTR already. The likelihood that they go to Bitcoin itself, I think, is pretty high. You can go further than this. I know you guys are talking about BlackRock in the chat. BlackRock, BlackRock, Cantor Fitzgerald, another great example. I got this from, a guy I want to get on the show at some point, Josh Olszewicz, who sent this out, I think, a couple of days ago. The Cantor Fitzgerald wealth management firm, who, by the way, was the recipient of the now somewhat famous Trump Max presentation from Saylor in November or December. I watched that with my newborn back in the day. These guys are net long MicroStrategy, and so they are net long Bitcoin like almost nobody else. I'm talking millions of shares. Okay. And, these guys are also slow money. So yes, it's important that university endowments do this. And yes, it's important that we call this institutional adoption in a way. But what you really are looking at is the slow money versus fast money dynamic. And more slow money is coming into Bitcoin. That's the stuff that sets floors, right? Other money could set ceilings and narratives could set ceilings. But if you're in this for the long haul, it's the floors that you want to go up. And this is a good example of a floor raising move. I like it. And so I want you guys to think about that when you're thinking about this adoption thing. Is it likely that states start adopting Bitcoin? Yeah, it is, because they're already exposed to it quite a bit in a lot of cases. I'm sure that list isn't complete. Is it likely that states adopt and hold? Yeah, it is. That's slow money. And university endowments are no different. It's good stuff, man. I'm really happy to see that. And I think that everyone should be happy to see that.
Are you a little shocked, even a little bit, that it took to 2025 to hear this from the first university putting even a small portion of their endowment towards Bitcoin?
So I just want to note here that they're like, you have to think about, again, the slow money and what it means to be exposed. So Emory University, this is from Eric Balchunas, Emory University has 15.8 million worth of Bitcoin on their sheet already. That was,
okay.
Yeah, that was in October. I wrote something else down here too. Is there another one here that I missed? No, there's not.
Not the University of Singapore?
I don't know how many millions of Singapore dollars those guys have in Bitcoin. But so when you say it's the first university to have exposure, sure, to spot, yes, they're going to store it themselves. Yes. Great.
Wait, we're not sure it's spot. I just want to.
I would guess that it's going to be.
I hope so.
Because they don't know anything else, right? Most of the time, it's easy to note that you're doing it with the ETFs. And so what I was going to say is that Emory University has 15.8 million in Bitcoin ETFs, right? They bought that vehicle instead of spot. So they're not the first. And I would guess, Len, that like if you really just take it's only one step back from where we are, from where we're talking now. If you take one step back, how many of these universities are buying the NASDAQ 100 every quarter, every year, rebalancing, blah, blah, blah? Well, MSTR is in there now. I think they start trading in the NASDAQ 100. If they haven't already, it's like less than a month away. And, the exposure to us means a certain thing because we're maxis. We've been around. We get it. But exposure to these guys, they're where we were 7 years ago now.
There's a difference between going to the NASDAQ 100 and you're just getting exposure just because you're buying in maybe the Qs or something like that. It's like the same way, like I'll use an analogy, the CPP. We're all buying in the CPP. And if the CPP does buy it through whatever mechanism by a little bit of MSTR, does that mean we are all Bitcoiners? No, this is just indirectly it's doing that. They're not actively going out and saying I'm buying but spot Bitcoin or lesser degree.
So the key word there is actively, right? You're not actively doing anything in the CPP. It's all passive. But when you're an endowment and you're actively buying the Qs, then it's a decision you're making. And if you're making that decision with MSTR in there, then you have to have some understanding that you have a little bit of exposure, vulnerability, or however you want to phrase it. And so I think that, I think you're going to see more of this. Am I surprised, to answer your earlier question? No, I think it's about right. Don't forget, for you and me, we were really running on this dream of Bitcoin is bigger than the law, bigger than governments, all this stuff. And I do think that was the case and remains the case. But a lot of people didn't think that. And so last year you had the last, inklings of the legislative cloud lifted. And now at the end of 24, so beginning of 24, you have the ETFs. The end of 24, you have Trump come in. And now the excuses are gone. Now when you have calls with your investors, you have calls with your university board, you have calls with the chairman of your family office, whatever, there is no, well, we're not sure about the future in terms of legal stature, legal status.
No, if they're going out there and giving lectures about
And exactly, they're in.
they're an active participant in it. The only thing we want to see is let's see them, show them like the students how to run nodes, show the people how to do sovereign, where you can do your own, broadcast your own. Like this is just a natural step. El Salvador has been showing this to students for, I don't want to say years, maybe it was years, I don't know, either way, some time. So why can't an institution in the United States, like an educational institution like University of Austin,
they can. They can.
They certainly can. The people going there are not stupid. They have a head on their shoulders. They didn't buy their way into university. At least I hope not.
Maybe.
So they have
the
capability to fucking do this shit. If I can figure this shit out, anybody can. So, well, it's a good segue to the next topic, unless you want to add anything else to this.
No. That's it. I just wanted to get that thing about slow money and fast money. I think that's important and people don't talk about it enough.
So kind of on the same keel here is that Canadian banks, a couple of them, have made some headlines. The Bank of Montreal and the National Bank of Canada, they each purchased shares in the company formerly known as MicroStrategy. And National Bank added $525 million worth, and the Bank of Montreal bought $790 million worth of shares. That's a good chunk of money.
Mm-hmm.
And the National Bank of Canada, they first purchased shares in MSTR. Last year, a small number, it was 18,000 shares. I don't know the dollar value, but it certainly wasn't as big as the dollar value they have now. But with respect to that, they've had some exposure to MSTR. And I don't think these banks are buying it because they like the suite of software services that MSTR offers. It's
probably not.
Mostly, maybe it is, but I could be wrong. They're trying to front run others. Buying this, it's just trying to give them more exposure to the price of Bitcoin and more Bitcoin exposure. And banks, they know which way the winds are blowing. And this is the one I'm shocked at. It took so fucking long to really come out to figure this shit out. I mean, granted, they're more than neck deep in fiat, but fucking this thing is going to take the world by storm. And everybody could see this. University of Austin, Texas could see it. Even the National Bank of Canada and who's the other one? Fucking Bank of Montreal. They could see it. So bring it on. Bring it on.
Yeah, this is so you're noting a recent buy, right? They've actually done
recently reported.
They've done it a few times now, right? There's stories as far back as December, November 2024.
Yes, for the National Bank.
Yeah, so it's not the first time. And so I see Boomer in the chat talking about technicals and momentum. Yeah, I think there's potential there, especially when it comes to Bitcoin, and you're kind of consolidating right underneath all-time highs as gold breaks out, as S&P breaks out, as rates continue to come down, blah, blah, blah. The cocktail's all there for you to have a nice time at the party. But, I'll go back to my earlier dichotomy. Is this fast money or is it slow money? I think probably it's fast money. And we'll see. It's hard to make the case if you're a bank to hold something past 100% gain. If Bitcoin gets to 200K in 5 years or whatever, is that a company that they're going to hold, or are they going to sell that off and move into, I hate to say it, but you know what they're going to move into, treasuries or something stupid like that, right?
Hey, they're going to be offering 6% at that time. That's going to be easy money.
Yeah,
for
sure.
them.
Exactly.
Easy money.
Yeah. Piece of cake. Right. But yeah, it's interesting, right? The banks, to your point, know which way the wind is blowing. I just don't think it's actually the monetary wind. It's more the lines and candles type of wind. So yeah, it's cool, but it's
not earth shattering. It's not
at all. Yeah. Which kind of sucks because it could have been, if it was accompanied with the right statement, like we like the MSTR treasury strategy or whatever, which by the way, they at least appreciate that there's a chance this thing goes up that's greater than it going down, because there's nothing here about their hedge, nothing here about buying options, nothing like that. So I'm not sure I don't think banks actually have to disclose options positions in this type of scenario. But that said, it's interesting that banks are looking at this stuff. They can't be the only banks. There's other banks doing it, I'm sure, besides them.
And in Canada, it's a very small group of folks, right?
Yeah.
The big five,
National
right?
Bank's the sixth largest bank, I think. So it's not like super big. But I
Yeah.
was talking to a friend of the show, SB, who has a terminal, as everyone knows. And we were just kind of chit-chatting a little while ago about the likelihood that when FASB comes into account and MSTR suddenly has enormous monthly gains, it's going to come onto a lot of screeners and people are going to have a hard time ignoring it. And so there's a chance that banks are just even thinking about that. Here's a company that's getting into the queues, now has FASB, now has, this preferred stock. The volatility is the quote unquote best or most active in the market. He's cozying up to Trump. Like, there's any number of reasons they could buy. I just don't think that we have a new monetary revolution on our hands is on the list for the banks. Not yet.
If they do acknowledge that, then they acknowledge that they're going to be made extinct.
Yeah.
Because I can't see a bank operating in a world where Bitcoin is being used as a medium exchange, the medium of exchange. Is what services can a bank really offer at that
They'll
point?
adopt. They could be part of a multi-sig solution. They could do any number of things.
How, like, in terms of like,
what do banks do? No, hang on a sec. What do banks do for you now? What do they do for you?
They create credit.
For you and me. What do they do for you and me? What is their primary function for you and me?
They loan money to us.
Exactly.
They create credit.
They hold capital and create credit. Hold capital is the important part of that, not the create credit part. Ostensibly, there is a case we made that holding capital is actually not that important, but for this conversation, we'll call it important. So why wouldn't they just hold Bitcoin for you, for grandma, for the city, for whoever, right? These guys will adapt to that end. Are the banks going to be like stalwart equity positions that the same way they, supposedly are now in Canada? Probably not, but I think they're going to have a function.
Let me interrupt, but on that topic, it's the fractional reserve that makes the banks really profitable. That they could take whatever they bring in and then lend it out, and it's
no reserve anymore. There is no reserve,
right? So it's a wonderful tool that you can't do that in a Bitcoin. Like, what if you give them the one Bitcoin, right? You have that one Bitcoin. What the fuck are they going to do with it? They're not going to lend it out. Right? They don't have the
fees. Like, I mean, there's all sorts of stuff people will let banks do. Erroneously, I might add. Like my mother-in-law worked at a bank for a long time, smart woman, but she trusts. She's like, why don't you let a bank hold one of these like whatever wallets? I'm like, absolutely not.
Yeah,
I'm never gonna do that. Absolutely not.
The banks, like, once you eliminate their ability to essentially print money by the creation of lending of money, shit like that, they're essentially useless. You can make like a pittance holding on to somebody's Bitcoin, their keys. I wouldn't recommend it, but say they do offer that, the ability for them to, you could store your Bitcoin with them and quote unquote trust them. But what sort of percentage are they going to get out of it? It's going to be minuscule. And in Canada, you could multiply that everyone times 40 million. That's how many people live here. Okay, that's fine. But still, it's not going to be to the same degree in terms of
that's what they're going to shrink. The businesses will shrink.
Yeah,
sure, no doubt.
Banks become obsolete in terms of what they're offering in levels. Like, there may be some Bitcoin neobank, something like, I don't know, but it won't anywhere be close to what we have offered right now. It would just be some evolutionary development in the banks, and still, I wouldn't fucking use it. I'll still hold my own keys. Fuck, trust.
No, it's not for you and me, right? Like, I don't use a safety deposit box for anything. What the fuck? I'm not going to trust the bank. The bank, after what happened with the truckers, after what I see from like these guys are freezing Russian treasury assets. No one's gonna have a problem going into my safety deposit box.
Let's hear this. Who do you trust more to hold your Bitcoin?
Yeah.
Would it be a bank or would it be an exchange? And I could say this, if I have to rank it, if I really had to pick one, I'll go first. I'm probably gonna go. I can't believe I'm gonna say this. Probably with the exchange.
Me too. Me too.
If I had to pick one, but like, that's how fucking bad it is. Like, we don't trust any of them.
No, I know.
The banks are worse than the exchange, and the exchanges are bad.
I told you about my experience at the bank on this show like a month ago. It's a system that hasn't updated because it hasn't needed to, and is going to find itself in a position where it's getting steamrolled, I think, relatively soon. And by the way, like, it's not just Bitcoin that's steamrolling banks. It's other banks. It's like Tangerine, where there's, I don't think there's like ATMs maybe, but no physical location. It's stuff like Stripe and Venmo and PayPal and Apple Pay. Like, Nobody gives a shit about any. Like, I don't go to the bank unless I absolutely have to. I don't go for any reason.
But
That's
still,
like,
they're
and
taking a
it's,
slice of the pie because they had.
they're trying
right now
to,
they
for
do.
sure. What do they
Yeah.
charge? What do you get charged for your checking account every month? Do you know?
I could tell you offline. I don't want to say it.
I'll say what I get charged for mine. It's like
Yeah.
$45 every month for my checking account. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And
It's my checking account. Like, I'm not rich. It's a high volume account, but it's not rich. And people are like, talking about how banks are ripping everybody off. Like, yeah, $45 for some people is probably a lot, And
that's
so
almost $600 in a year. Like,
yeah, it's a lot of money.
That's a lot of. Yeah. That's the price of my car, threefold.
Yeah,
Like,
Mike pointing this out. I refuse to put $4,000 in my account. What kind of person keeps $4,000 in their account? Why would you ever keep $4,000 in your account for any reason?
A lot of Bitcoin.
You couldn't fucking pay me to keep. I won't tell you how much, but I'll tell you it's not 4,000. It's enough for my mortgage, my property tax, and my bills, and that's it. And not a penny more.
Yeah, try not to keep a lot of Singapore dollars in there. Now we're talking about this trusting and stuff like that. I think it's a good segue for the next topic. I'm not sure if you followed this on X. There was this whole drama going on between the Prime Trust bankruptcy. I'm not sure if you saw this or caught a wind of this. Yeah, I think you did. Yeah, and I hope
because we've talked about it before and how, like, Swan went from Prime to Fortress and just couldn't get it right, and now these guys are still bickering. I think that was like a year and a half ago, right? Something like that.
I would say around a year ago, less than a year ago.
Yeah.
Either way, let me just set the table here for people that are unaware, because I did a search on Google, so they're my primary source of this type of information. They says Prime Trust, a crypto custodian, filed for bankruptcy in here it is, August 2023, after a shortfall of customer funds. The company's collapse was caused by a number of factors, including improper use of customer funds, and a crypto bear market, and investment in Terra Luna USD, which went tits up.
Yeah.
And Swan Bitcoin was using Prime Trust as its preferred custodian. They have since moved on, and they switched to Fortress and BitGo, and also Equity Trust. And so there's this bankruptcy hearing that's going on for Prime Trust, and through the hearing, it was thought that some of Swan's customer funds were tied up in the bankruptcy proceedings. But Corey Clipston came out and said, no, this is not the case. He says all the clients are their whole, and they with custody of Backed, BitGo, and Equity Trust. So all this is said, I just want to say that you don't want to leave your funds on any exchange. This is an example why. If you can't trust yourself, trust yourself. Just 12 or 24 words. Use multi-sig, put passphrase, do the number of different things to make it extra secure. But don't rely on somebody to hold on to your keys for you. And if you do, you could get robbed. And this is an example why. But in terms of the whole drama behind it, I think you might want to add some color to that.
I don't care to. No. Because but how many times are we going to talk about people, especially exchanges? Swan is an exchange. And by the way, you will recall that all this stuff started to happen around the same time that they fired a bunch of people, that they started up a quote unquote media empire. Corey Clipson the other day tweeting out a fucking graphic. Corey came on this show when this show was a lot smaller. I will always respect him for that. But tweeted out this graphic, a low IQ tube stat screen of how many views he got on all his videos, as though he's not just posting clickbait nonsense every fucking day and how good things are going at Swan. Meanwhile, the company basically dropped 80% of its employees, including some great people like Stefan Livera. Okay. Meanwhile, they couldn't get their customer funds secured. Meanwhile, you got Predator, who is in Corey's ass every time he tweets, talking about how he's fucking lying about something or obfuscating something. And this guy's tweeting about how good the YouTube numbers are. Retarded. No one gives a shit about the YouTube numbers. No one gives a shit if you're appealing to the dumbest people on the planet. What they care about is that you secure the funds. You didn't do that. What they care about is that you run a business that keeps people employed, good people in Bitcoin. You didn't do that. Instead, he was taking hype videos of himself, shooting 3-point shots at Pacific Bitcoin, and firing half his staff. Well, what a surprise, Len. Who could have seen this coming, right? And so here we are a year later or whatever it is. Same drama, same companies, same funds, same guy. And it's like predictable, to say the least.
Remember, they were so close to going public. Like, it seemed like it was
They
imminent. And then
tried to, but like
all of a
I
sudden,
think
just
I think Odell's rant on TFTC that one day, which I think was like off the cuff, like we're in Bitcoin, we're doing VC. Swan says they've given out $500 million. We don't know where a single dollar of that is. Not a single dollar. Never been cleared up, as far as I know. And unless I missed it, I doubt I missed it. Like, I listen to TFTC often enough, and I'm on Twitter, you know, like the rest of you guys, terminally online. I never saw it. So, fuck. I mean, what the fuck happened with that? That's seems to be another thing to be concerned about. I didn't even mention that in the short little rant that I did there. But yeah, interesting, right?
you hear about this Mubadala Investments.
Is this
Mubadala
the
Abu Dhabi.
yeah, wealth fund, sovereign wealth fund? Yeah, I did hear about
Yeah.
this. Yeah, yeah.
So
I have it
they
written down
disclosed-
in my book here.
Pull up that book because we'll be talking about right
I got
now.
the book. 436 million in Bitcoin ETFs in quarter 1, right? Have that right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. They
Interesting.
bought the BlackRock iShares.
Slow
ETF.
money, sovereign wealth fund, slow money. You know,
And-
that's good. That's good shit.
I don't understand like why they chose this mechanism versus holding their own keys. I mean, Abu Dhabi. I know it's an
We got to
investment
get
fund,
that.
so they're-
We don't use the soundboard feature on this thing, but we should just get one of you saying, I don't know why they used the ETFs instead of holding their own keys. And you could just
I'll
get a sip of
continually
water or
say that.
something instead, because it'd be easier for you that way, I think.
continually say that. The reality is like, fuck it. Don't have somebody else hang on to your wealth. Why you have the ability to hang on to it yourself? Why give
Yeah.
somebody else the keys?
It truly
Not
is.
even that.
It truly is a sovereign wealth fund if you don't hold your own keys. Someone else is
Yeah.
holding them.
Well done, Joey. Well
Wait
done.
a minute. Foreign wealth
mean,
fund. Foreign wealth fund.
You know, the only thing that would truly put a bow on this fucking story is if the Mubadala Investments released their own fucking meme coin. That would be just the cherry on the top of this story, and I would love it.
We got it. Yeah, they'll release it as an ETF.
Meme ETF. Anyways,
God, that's
do you
good.
see GameStop is considering buying some Bitcoin?
This guy, Liam Cohen or whatever his name is, like
the guy from
unreal.
Chewy.
That's the guy. Yeah, he did do Chewy, right? But he also did. He's also the GameStop CEO or whatever president. I don't know what he is, but that was another banger day in low IQ tube headline history. GameStop finally does Bitcoin. Look, I don't have a problem with companies doing Bitcoin treasury strategy. Obviously, I mean, like we like that kind of stuff. But why is this guy in the news still? Why? This guy is only famous because Keith Gill, deep fucking value, Roaring Kitty, who decided one day to make a YouTube channel and wear a headband, had $100 million worth of like longs on this stock or something like that. That's what we care about. And that this guy's still in the news after that. Roaring Kitty's the best thing that ever happened to that guy. And this is just another attempt to lasso in another community, right? To pump his stock. But I don't think the Bitcoiners will buy it.
I think that just the fact that they're doing this, I think it's funny.
Hold on, I got to say something here. Mike in the chat, do not send a super chat here. I will not read your super chat if you send it. If you want to boost, do it in Fountain, and you can ask how in the Discord. Well,
yeah,
show you. Super chats here fucking suck. Google takes like 60% of the money, and we never get a dime anyways. I don't know.
You know what? The same conversation I'm having in Discord. The exact same conversation.
Just don't do it. Don't give these people your money. Give a boost. 1,000 sats is like what, $1? Like, don't give these guys $5, and like we'll read the shit that you write in the boost anyway. You know, just do it for $1 instead of $5. It's not worth it.
Yeah, no. You know, in fact, I'm gonna turn off the super chat.
Shut it off.
Yeah,
we gotta turn the faucet off for these guys. Big chat can't be winning against us.
Fuck that. I'm gonna do that right. Why is it still
unreal?
So yeah, so to go back to GameStop.
That's what happened to the Delta flight, by the way. The guy was reading his super chats and fucking flipped the plane.
These planes fly themselves now. What's going on?
Oh, I love it.
I don't know. For people who aren't aware, in Toronto, our busy airport over here, a Delta airplane, I don't want to say crash landed. I mean,
I don't know. It's what happened. The video, I haven't seen a good video yet. There's one video of like the smoke, but it's pretty nuts. The fuselage is upside down, no wings on the runway. So that means it must have spun twice, right? Like, where are those wings on the fuselage? Like, where are the I don't know.
I don't know. And still, I'm trying to figure out exactly how it happened. Either way, like, what a fucking disaster. But Proton Wallet, I guess we could just wrap it up with this last story here. Very simple, very quick. They exited the early access stage, and it's now available for all Android, iOS, and web users, and they could get access to this web wallet.
Yeah.
And this is a self-custodian wallet. It provides you with the 12 keys, which you could get access to.
I like this. Are you a Proton Mail guy?
I do have Proton Mail, multiple, in fact, absolutely. And even I'll go as far as to say I even use the VPN, but I use it just for my TV because I just put it on my Fire Stick and load it up, and I'm able to get the US stuff. And
That's pretty cool.
That's because it's free. I'm able to do that. The one thing I wish it had, you could go to a whole bunch of different countries, and some of them, like most of them, you have to pay for, which sucks because the Italian one I can't get access to it. So like a lot of the Italian shows I can't fucking see. But either way, Proton Wallet, it's now available for anybody who wants it. There's one additional feature to this. People may like this. I'm not sure if it's all that great because there's an email feature which allows users to send and receive Bitcoin using only their email addresses. It kind of sounds like you're doxing yourself in a way by providing it.
Why is it any different than the Lightning address thing? Maybe it's the same. Is it Lightning or on chain? Because on chain would be difficult. Yeah, on chain would be difficult. So I don't know how that would work.
Yeah, this is on chain because you're providing your 12 words. Either way, for people who aren't aware what the hell Proton is, it's a quote unquote private email service and VPN service. I think a few other things as well. I think they provide like a drive or a cloud storage and stuff.
Yeah, they're man, Proton Mail is good. They're really good. And Ben Perrin, BTC Sessions, has a video on the wall already. I haven't watched it. I actually meant to put it on today when I was riding my elliptical, but not my elliptical, sorry, my stationary bike. But I do want to try it because I'm always down for a good wallet that I can use on my phone, right? Blue Wallet's pretty good. Green Wallet's pretty good. This one sounds like it might be good too. Proton's super privacy focused. You say what you want about them. Nothing is 100% safe, obviously, but I think if you're going to put your, quote unquote trust in somebody, these guys are about as good as you're going to find. So if you're going to do something on your phone, hot wallet type, then this is the thing. One of the things you could look at.
And I guess that's it, Joey, for the Bitcoin related story.
Nice. Okay, let's go over to the notables. If you're on YouTube, Twitter, whatever, watching live, hang in. We're not going anywhere. If you're anywhere else, wait till tomorrow for the back half of the audio feed. Until then, take care of yourself.
And don't be a cuck.
Don't be a cuck for sure. I have this recent obsession with Love is Blind. Have you watched this show?
No, you mentioned it in the chat, in the Discord, and somebody said the different show. Gosh, and
did somebody reply to that? I have to go back and
look. American.
My notifications are so weird on the
you the definitely got to go into it because Jer, in fact, he sent us a boost. He said he's watching American Primeval.
I've never seen that. No.
And he's also started Succession again. Yeah,
Succession is great.
Galoot says that's a strike for watching Love is Blind. I can't believe I'm reading. So yeah, Joe, you got to get in Discord, man. It's fucking rocking. Even right now.
I see it now. I know. I got to see it. Here. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, this is great. I will spend more time in the Discord. That's my New Year's resolution in February.
I'm even if anybody wants to be a mod on that as well, because it's getting to be rather large, and Joey and I can't do it ourselves. We'd love to accept applications or ideas. Just
application.
Yeah, submit it. We're gonna the Punt Pass King competition. Whoever wins that gets to become a mod.
True.
Or whoever finishes third in that. We're gonna say third. So, anyways.
Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah. You want to just dive right into the stories?
We should. Yeah, let's get after it.
Somebody's saying you should watch Homeland too. These are all.
I like Homeland. Yeah, I do. I think that's a good show. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I like Mindy. What's his name? Mindy Paquin. That guy. He's pretty good. And then obviously Adrian. What is the guy's name? He's Adrian. He's Brody in Homeland. What's his name? I forget his name. He's also in Billions, which is another great show. The first season or two of Billions is really good. Anyway, that's for another episode of CBP TV Cast. But for now, let's get into the notables here.
Yeah, well, okay. This is a signpost. You love talking about these signposts. And I think this is one that shows that we are closer to the end than we are to the fucking
Oh boy.
beginning. Because Tuttle Capital, they have filed an ETF that will invest in, quote, reversed engineered alien technology. Yeah. The ticker is going to be UFOD. And they say that they're going to be investing at least 80% of its net assets in a basket of companies that Tuttle Capital believes have potential exposure to advanced or reversed engineered alien technology.
I love this. This is so great. What
Yeah.
are they investing in? Microwaves?
No, they say like aerospace groups and defense contractors will probably get a good chunk of it as well. But like, I just want to go back. The Tuttle Capital, I believe, are the folks behind the Inverse Kramer, the Nancy
Yes.
Pelosi,
Yes.
the Ted Cruz.
Yes.
Like, it's almost like a meme type ETF, and those have already been approved. I can't see why this won't be approved if the other ones have. So, like, I look at this, and it's like this is truly a sign that shows we are fucking closer to the end. There's no way somebody's saying, "Oh, this is the beginning of an empire." No fucking way, man. This is the shit that happens at the very end before it all collapses. and we
Okay,
topple
this is
statues
why
and shit like that.
this is why when we talk about like, oh, the financial advisor world or like the wealth management world, everyone in great example, the Compound. I like the Compound YouTube channel. I think Mike Batnick and Ben Carlson are funny, even though I think Ben has me blocked for some reason. Josh Brown, funny. Yeah, I probably said something stupid to him when I was like in my Bitcoin infancy, like so many of us did. But you know, I truly hope he has fun and doesn't stay poor.
The beautiful thing, getting blocked now doesn't preclude
You can still see his tweets, yeah. But I
Yes.
mean, I still have the badge when I look at his profile. But anyway, the thing I would say is that a lot of these guys, especially because everyone started doing social media during COVID, they had to sort of frame their profession in a way and defend their profession, I think, in a way they've never had to before, right? We are a group of people who are lettered professionals. We're regulated. We're very serious people. We manage money for families. We keep people savings safe and all these things. And then, but a week later, you have a call with a client and you have to explain why you're underperforming the inverse, triple levered Kramer ETF. What's the ticker for that? STFU. And you're underperforming it by, 20%. And my next door neighbor who's retarded and is on his phone all day tweeting memes and telling me to have fun staying poor. He has a Pepe shirt on every day. He's buying another Lamborghini this week. He's in STFU. He's buying options in STFU and CRUZ and NANC and all these other, and so these guys now have to kind of, they joined the quote unquote social media revolution in 2020 during COVID when the rest of us did, and thought that they would have a case like we're in a new financial paradigm. It's going to be interesting to manage money. It turns out you were wrong about that. What actually happened is no one takes your profession seriously anymore, including the people who are making the financial products. And the market thinks that these things are better buys than whatever garbage you're selling and trying to get 2 and 10 on from people who don't know any better. It's like unbelievable. And so when you have a story like this, what's the newest, hottest ETF? Oh, it's a guy who thinks defense technology was reverse engineered from aliens. It's up 15% today. Like, how do you go home and like hang your jacket on a hook and go, yeah, my job is really important. It takes a lot of know-how to do this job. How the fuck do you do that? You can't anymore, can you? So when these guys are like, Bitcoin's not a serious investment, like, I don't know, bro. Did you or did you not underperform triple inverse alien tech today? Because if you didn't, then I don't want to hear about serious, because you ain't it either. That's all there is to it.
Are you a buyer? Day one buyer. What's the goal?
Yeah, I'm buying 50 shares. Yeah, first day. What's the ticker? Give me the ticker. ALEN. What's the ticker?
No, it's UFOD.
Oh,
UFOD.
I love it.
Yeah,
I think this is so great. I think
there's so many levels. It's just fucking fantastic. Yeah. So on X, we have a note that was done by the European Central Bank, and I think this proves why. Did you see this one?
Maybe. Is it the one? Is it it can't be the Weimar Plus one.
No. It's I can't believe after posting this tweet, whatever the fuck you're gonna call it, you could take them seriously. They did this on Valentine's Day. It's a legit tweet. I'm not bullshitting you. I'm going to read it to you direct.
Okay.
No fucking flavor I'm adding. Just is this raw. So roses are red, violets are blue. Inflation is on track to settle around 2. Straight from the European Central Bank. Like, we are one step away, Joey, from Andrew Dice Clay coming out and talking about
Little Miss Muffets.
Yes, but at least Clay, when he fucking does these fucking tweets or these rhymes, he's got a little more cred.
Yeah.
Like, really? Like, come on. This is fucking cringe
I
to
love
fucking do
that.
this kind of bullshit. Holy fuck. What else is there to say?
Are the Eurocrats having the worst week of any country, continent, whatever, that we've seen in the last few years? These guys getting dunked on at every turn, right? JD Vance going there and telling them either shape up or ship out, making a great point that basically, look, you don't share any of our ideals anymore. And so if you don't figure that out, we're going to stop treating you like an ally because you're not one right now. And then Trump going on to say that there's going to be a peace negotiation between Ukraine, Russia, and America, and European Union officials going, oh, we're going to be at the table too. Like, yeah, maybe the kids' table, buddy, but not the adults' table. We'll let you know when we're done with the stuffing and gravy. And then on top of that, now you got the European Central Bank claiming inflation is going to settle at 2% with a poem written by a 10-year-old. Unbelievable. These guys just do nothing but lose. They are addicted to losing. Then to top it all off, on Sunday night on 60 Minutes, the German police take 60 Minutes reporters around and do 6 a.m. raids on people who sent mean tweets. What? These guys are so dumb. They're so dumb. Germany is in the midst of a political upheaval, trying to ban the communication options for the AfD, the Alternative for Deutschland, which came up in the Dicker and Diaz podcast from last week on CBP. These guys they're in a situation they've never been in. I shouldn't say never. I think one other time they were in it, but these guys are just getting their ass kicked every which way, and they have the audacity to put out a poem like that. The European Central Bank does. The European Union experiment has already failed. And the only people that don't know it are like the people who are at these stupid conferences and shaking each other's hands and jerking each other off. Everyone else knows it's failed already, except them.
It's hard to break away from it. It looks like it's probably going to have to be done, but but
they're like a failing mafia boss, right? Like, it's hard to break away if the threat of broken legs and someone burning down your business is real and hovers over you. Now it's like, but now that threat is less and less. It's less and less legitimate. It's less and less tangible.
It's the one that would be crippling to it would be Germany breaking away, right? And I'm not sure how it could be done in such a way that the German economy doesn't get absolutely pulverized in the short term.
Germany's economy is already in the shitter.
It is. It can change relatively.
I don't know.
Medium term. I'm not saying quick. Medium term. It could certainly change.
Did you see the German police video, the 60 Minutes thing?
No.
The daytime.
Oh, is that because the guy made a tweet, a meme or something?
I mean, he said it's a racist tweet. That's what they say. I want to see the tweet that he sent out before I decide whether or not it's racist, because I don't believe these people actually know what that word means. And, the idea that you have police, again, like you got Keir Starmer in the UK, these guys in Germany, they just are missing the mark every time they try and hit it, they miss. And everyone is laughing at them. And I tweeted today, like, they've gone from global economic superpower to just laughing stock.
There's
10 years. It happened in like 10 years. That's all.
Two policies that really ruined it, I would say, is one, it's the energy policy. Energy policy was looking at Germany for this one.
Yeah. No, I totally agree.
Because France, they're very pro-nuclear. They're not doing stupid stuff. But France, Germany, I'm looking at you for that one. The second,
France is under fire now too, right? To comment on that, because Macron wants to get rid of or get off some of these green things and go into, I guess, fossils or something similar. And people are accusing him of bowing to Trump's agenda and being far right. Can you imagine getting that criticism in the year of our Lord 2025? Yeah, like, energy markets are screaming at you that green is not working. Your citizens are screaming at you life is too expensive, and still some like academic, Ann Applebaum type, who's also just the dumbest person on the planet. There's a lot of dumb people out there, but she's among them. Talking on, on every stage at every globalist conference, talking about how anything that's not pure communism and destruction of modern quality of life is right-wing, alt-right, racist, fascism, populist, has to be dealt with. These people don't get it. They just don't get it. And Macron, to his credit, is like, I think I have to do this anyways, but he's going to get a lot of shit for it. Anyway, go ahead. Keep going.
No, and the second was their policy on immigration.
Yeah.
It's
a mess. It's a mess everywhere.
Yeah.
Did you listen to, I know you're not a big podcast guy, but you know who was on Tucker's show this week? The Prime Minister, President of Hungary.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He'd be a good listen to. You know what?
Yeah.
Another good one to watch, the whole development, what's going on with the Romanian election.
Yeah.
And I can't speak with confidence in this, but from what I gather is one of the candidates was able to make headways, didn't win, but enough that it made enough waves and passed to the next stage of the presidential election or prime minister, whatever it is. And they were saying that outside influence from Russia was the reason why
of course.
So they just, from what I gather, they voided it and they're starting again. Like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah, they void an election.
An election they don't like. Right? Like results they don't like.
You don't. Whatever you think about government is almost certainly incorrect.
If I voted for somebody, like say I voted for you, Joe. I'm gonna say for you. I voted for you, and they come out and say the election, and you come in at a high ranking, and they say the election was outside influence, and we're gonna restart it. You know what? I'm gonna vote for you again, and I'm gonna tell everybody, my friends, my family, fucking vote for this guy. Like you basically.
Well, look at Ruby, and whatever that other guy's name, the Indian guy who
Chandra
banned from the leadership race. Yeah,
Chandra Arya. Yeah.
Well, Ruby got her money together with a couple days to go, and Freeland and Gould were both still begging for money yesterday. Gives you an idea of like what people think of the establishment politicians in this country and probably all over the world. And again, said this so many times on this show. You can call these other people far right all you want. My question remains, far from what? They're not far from what the average person thinks anymore. They're only far from the Stalinist communist bullshit that these people are trying to push. And everyone's had it. Everyone has had it.
Let's talk about, you mentioned Freeland. We'll talk about Notable North now. And there was some very good investigative reporting going on Twitter, X, whatever. And I just want to say Dusty Rhodes has to move on. He's no longer the common man. Mark Carney is officially the common man after this came out. And there was a photo op of him playing hockey. He had no skate. The only thing he had on aside from his clothes was a goalie stick. And he was just,
$2,000 pair of shoes or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I got a lot of shoes that I've spent too much money on, but none of them are even close to $2,000.
Zegna sneakers, right? Like I've never heard of this brand, by the way, Joey. Like that doesn't say very much. The only thing I wear is LA Gear, but he was not wearing it. But $2,000 for these Zegna shoes, and man, it's a lot of Singapore bucks. Anybody out here? I just want to ask: does anybody out there have shoes that are worth $2,000? I'm gonna say no. How about any article of clothing?
Do you even know where to buy a pair of $2,000 shoes? Like, what is that? I know that there's. Don't get me wrong. I realize there are like for sure stores in Toronto that sell $2,000 pairs of shoes.
Yeah, go to Yorkville.
But do you know what the stores are called? I do not.
No,
I would not know.
I don't
what
even know what
store
they look like.
it. Yeah,
no. Like, do you have even an article of clothing, Joey, that's worth $2,000? Maybe a suit, maybe the closest.
No. Even my suits are like $1,100 max.
Yeah. My car isn't.
I think my suit for my wedding, I say 1,100 is probably less than that. I think it was like $800. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, and that was a few years ago. Now, but
how could you have this common man idea like that? You're wearing shoes like that. And it's not just him. You got the other guy wearing Rolexes and getting driven around on Maseratis.
God.
Right? And
even Pierre's got a fucking $2,000 jacket. His Canada Goose jacket is expensive. He bought tickets to that game. Canada got thumped by the US. Those are about probably $5,000 for him and his wife and kid.
You know what? It may be time. It's been 3 years since the executive order, the Emergencies Act, was put into place. It might be time to do it again. The US players that won, bank accounts frozen, freeze their assets, all their shit. Fuck you. And that's it. So, yeah.
Turn their hotel keys off. Make sure they have to sleep in the hallway, especially the night before the game on Thursday. Thursday's an important day
an
for
old
this
trick,
country
yeah.
now. Yeah.
But yeah, like I see like this guy, it's so painful to watch. And I'm not sometimes you see something, you're sorry for the individual when they do something. And this, it's like this is just painful to watch for me to see somebody wear these fucking expensive shoes and to say, yeah, I'm just a regular dude. No, you're not, man.
Oh God, I love it. I actually the picture of him again. They're trying to paint him as the everyman, right? Like as if anyone believes this. It's hilarious. They think this is actually working, but
He's got to put polka dots on. That's the way with the
well,
yellow polka dots.
did you
like
see the
Dusty
picture of
Rhodes.
him
That's the
during the Canada game yesterday, or I guess
No.
against the States on Saturday, talking about how Pierre's at the game, his tickets are this much money, blah blah blah, and then it's a picture of Mark Carney drinking out of a Coors Light glass at some bar. And I don't drink Coors Light frequently, but I know that the beer in his glass was not Coors Light, and I don't think that necessarily going to no one. I don't know what's the point of even talking about this. It's obvious like there's a huge machine trying to push this guy on everybody, and it's just not working. So I look forward to seeing what the ending results are of the Liberal leadership vote. I sent you guys a picture in the chat that we all are in of the priorities for the Liberal leadership campaign. I'm gonna see if I can pull it up here. Talk about notable stories.
This is a beauty.
This is a banger. So
Read them off, because people on the audio can't obviously see that.
I'm gonna find. Yeah, I'll find it. As you guys know, I'm a registered liberal. I've been a supporter of the Liberal Party for a long time, and registered for their leadership race as one does. God, I tweet way too much. There's so much shit on my feed, and I can't find that thing. I think it was from a couple of days ago. So let me just get a second here. But basically, what happened over the weekend was the Liberal Party sent anyone who registered for their leadership race the list of topics that they were going to cover in a potential leaders debate. And they gave you a list to choose from. And this list was it was absolutely insane. It's just an example of how these guys are so detached from reality that they think anyone gives a shit about any of this stuff.
I have it here, Joey. I'll just
Thank
read it
God,
off.
because I can't find it. I don't know where it is. Go for it. Yeah, read them.
So this is the email that you got, and no hyperbole, no opinion. I'm just strictly reading it. So this is drag and drop the topics below to rank them in the order of importance, with the topic you want to see addressed during the debates. So you basically rank them. Number one.
We are about to enter into a trade war with the greatest empire the world has ever seen. They are our biggest trade partner and can crush us militarily, economically, culturally, you name it. This is what the leadership debate wants to cover. Go ahead.
So the first thing that's listed is 2SLGBTQI plus rights and inclusion. Number 2, women's rights and gender equality. Number 3, advancing reconciliation with Indigenous peoples. 4, fighting climate change. 5, protecting a clean environment.
Isn't that the same thing? Keep going.
Yeah. Public safety, healthcare, economic growth, job creation, housing affordability, and so forth. And so, but yeah, the top few are interesting.
No comment. Let's keep going.
Freeland came out this past week with a very interesting idea to help separate her from the rest of the candidates running for the Liberal leader. And her idea was to impose a cap on grocery profits and to expand competition. And it seems to me that one way to entice businesses to expand an environment is to impose profits, limitation on their profits, right? Like, could you imagine, guys, you're not going to make as much money as before. Oh, by the way, we're going to open up and let more people in. I wouldn't fucking
Come on in.
right? Like, she said she wants to cap.
We raise the minimum wage every year to match.
Make it harder to fucking make money. And then,
by the way, no plastic allowed. Everything's got to be in something else.
So she wants to put a cap on essential items like eggs, milk, vegetables, and baby formula. And she also wants to make shrinkflation illegal under her watch. And this is wonderful considering it's in an inflationary environment. And she promises to improve competition by banning grocery stores from owning wholesalers, processors, and distributors. So essentially having somebody else do it, so they're not able to cut out the middleman. And they want to open up low-cost financing to attract new independent grocers and considering allowing foreign grocers to enter the market with the exception of American grocers.
Amazing.
Maybe we could entice some Ukrainian grocers to enter.
That's exactly what's gonna go. What the fuck is going on in this country? I have no idea. This is a serious policy position proposed by, I mean, ostensibly you could call her a front runner, right? For the prime minister's office. She's in the top, you know, if you had to pick 5 names of the next likely prime minister, she's in there, right? She's in the list. And this is a policy position that her team has decided is a good idea. Price controls and banning the biggest market from coming here to compete.
Fuck, you know what? I gotta figure something to separate myself. I know I'm gonna fucking prevent them from making money, and I'm gonna open it up. I'm gonna have them come in and bring more people, more.
It's just
more
like this is why there's not a lot of Canadian business owners. Okay, I understand that, and like you and me have this little business. And it's like, you know, peanuts to a lot of people.
We can't get a fucking bank account, man.
But that's not the problem. The problem is that like, even if I didn't have this business, I would still understand how this policy doesn't make sense, right? You're outlining it. Let's just take it just like half a step further. What person who has any real economic experience doesn't understand that those two ideas don't work together? Opening up competition and preventing profits. How
they're opposite ends.
They're completely incompatible. So this person, again, either thinks that you don't get it or doesn't get it herself. But those are the only two options. So you decide. You know, you're the voter. Do you not get it, or do you think she doesn't get it? But one of those things has to be true. And that's just not, you don't need to be a business owner to understand this. It's hard for me to get this. You know, we talked about education on this show a little while ago. I think it was with Phil Bach, maybe. A country that is well educated shoots us down right away. It gets laughed out of the building. But instead, we get like Rosie Barton and Nick Dixon on CTV and, you know, all these other kind of shit. You know, Bruce Arthur talking about gouging. Like these people, they're dumb. They're dumb, and the readers are dumb, and the viewers are dumb, and everyone is dumb. You have to understand that if you want competition, you have to allow profit. That's the whole point. When you're competing means there is what at the end, Len? When you compete, what happens at the end of a competition?
The prices hopefully will drop.
Forget it. Go even more basic than that. When you're competing, what happens at the end? There's a winner. There's a winner. Right?
Yeah,
so if you prevent a winner from emerging, there is no competition. And when you prevent profits from growing, that prevents competition too. It's the same principle. And so like, it's mind-boggling to me that this is something that gets pitched and makes it through the filter. Again, I joke about this with my buddies. Like, you know, when someone says something stupid around the table, like, man, that's the thing that you said. Imagine what got caught in the filter on the way out if that's what made it through. Like, imagine the ideas on the cutting room floor of that, you know, McKinsey boardroom or whichever, you know, consulting agency is running her campaign. Imagine the stuff they didn't say if that's the thing that they actually came out with. I can just imagine how bad those ideas are. 0 out of 10 ideas. Tons of them, probably.
It's beautiful stuff. Right? It's absolutely beautiful.
Great for us. I mean, good content. That was like really 3 minutes on doing this content there. Yeah.
So the city of Toronto, their city council, they're considering to remove the subsidy on Tesla cars.
Amazing.
Tesla cars are currently on a list of vehicles that qualify for a $4.85 million licensing fee grant program that's run by the city of Toronto. And it looks like Tesla may be removed because of what he's been doing for the past few years. Olivia Chow, the mayor of Toronto, came out to say, people can still continue to buy electric vehicles, just not Tesla. I see no reason why the city should subsidize the purchase of Tesla. And however, the mayor later told council when she introduced the motion, one of the best ways we have to send a message to the president's right-hand person is
just stops.
So
political again, you know, you guys are bringing a knife to a gunfight in a way that either you don't understand or hope that we don't understand. but it doesn't change the reality, right? You can ignore reality for a long time, but you can't ignore the consequences of reality. And again, like just leaving aside that there's been studies, including a recent one that gained some notoriety on Twitter. Could just be because my feed is tailored so tightly to my preferences. But this study basically says that electric cars they're not usable in Canada. You lose like 40 or 50% of your battery longevity and your mileage output in cold climates. And so I don't know if you guys know this about Canada, but it's cold here 8 months a year. So this idea that you're going to be driving an electric car is just completely wrong. And then to take away what is without a doubt the highest quality electric car in terms of battery performance and all these things, you may disagree with, fit and finish, and the doors don't fit all the time, apparently, according to some people. I mean, there was that Tesla Q account years ago that faded into oblivion. Make of that what you will, and a ton of Tesla haters, but this guy seems to continue to do the right things to pump the stock and to, have the cars proliferate basically everywhere you look in the modern world. We're going to ban this. And Chow saying the quiet part out loud, as she always does, right? Can never just do things secretly. Never keeps things close to the chest. Always giving too much information or showing too much skin, honestly. Talking about how we got to hurt Trump's right-hand man. Do people think Elon Musk cares about the Tesla sales in Toronto? Do you think he cares about that? You think he's ever thought about that? Do you think he's ever once considered what the mayor of Toronto thinks about the Tesla subsidy?
No, obviously not. What the fuck?
He's never considered it. He's never going to consider it now.
He never will.
No, never
will.
Never.
And I could give you a group of folks that are probably never going to take advantage of the electric car subsidy, if Tesla or not. It's the unemployed in Toronto. Apparently that number has crossed the 350,000 person threshold. 350,000 people are unemployed in the city of Toronto.
Unemployed? And that doesn't include people who are, I don't know if the technical term is underemployed, but people who are working and still can't afford stuff.
Unemployed.
Right? That's another set of people entirely. Yeah. Wow.
The population of Toronto is a little over 3 million. So that's more than 10% of the population that is unemployed. And this is a city that has the most opportunity to work. The most businesses are established here. There's so many different things you can do. I'm not trying to say these people should be able to find jobs. It may just be saturated too many people. There's not enough jobs able to fill every person out there that wants a job. And to go out there, I wonder how many of these people out there are able to buy $2,000 shoes or wear Rolex watches. I could tell you none of them do. And these are people that are feeling the pain every fucking day. It's cold right now. It's snowy in the past few days. If you have no job, what the fuck are you going to do? There's nothing. And it seems like there's going to be no hope. And it's just so many people unemployed. Next time they have a job fair, I would imagine a number of these people are going to be showing up looking for a job because they're desperate for anything. And then it's just more people applying for fewer jobs that are available for them. It fucking sucks.
You know which Canadian city has taken the most immigrants since 2020?
I would say Toronto.
Toronto. Yeah. Not to make it about immigration, but is there a line to be drawn between immigrants and unemployment, you think?
I think that we're now addressing that issue.
Trying to, right? Starting to talk about it at least. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's a line there for sure. And you have a bunch of people who don't want to work for dog shit wages. That is their prerogative. But you have broken money here. This is what Bitcoiners talk about all the time. The problem is the money is not keeping up with the costs. And the problem is that the Cantillon effect is enriching people who are closest to the spigot and driving prices of fixed assets up. The thing that triggers the problem is that every person, no matter how close to the spigot, needs the fixed asset real estate. And that's showing now in a way that it never did for 2015, 16, 17. Certainly 2020 drove things into overdrive. But that's the thing, right? And so when Bitcoiners talk about broken money, and you can say, well, the money's working for me. Can you buy a coffee with Bitcoin? You can't buy a fucking house if you make $2 million in Toronto. Give your fucking head a shake. You have 350,000 unemployed people. That's probably more than 95% of Canadian cities have in their entire population. And you think the money's okay. You think that we need more Chow. You think we need, Olivia Chow giving press statements about hurting Trump's right-hand man. How about the people in your city, dummy? Think about what's going on in your city. Is that worth consideration? Is there something there that you could talk about? Something there you could give your bandwidth to, as opposed to social media, quote unquote, wins against Elon Musk. He doesn't give a fuck about you, but your city is burning and needs support from the mayor's office. It's not getting it. Period. End of story. This is such a disastrous mayoral era in Toronto. The end of the Tory era. Chow.
Oh, we had it so good with Ford.
Yeah, you had no idea how good you had it with the meth addicted.
The drama was off the
pussy
chart.
eating,
It was fucking
TV
great.
Tripping
Tripping
like
when he was
you had
playing
no
flag
idea.
football.
You had no idea, you know,
Did you
like
see him
yeah,
trip-
falling while he's taking the snap at that fucking
That was
charity
awesome.
event, like dropping back in shotgun, can't execute the play fake and just falls, you know, like that was your best mayor. Now, like, how do you, if you're a Toronto politician, are you ever going to get an easier mayor to follow? But neither of you guys could do it competently.
Hey, Chris
crazy.
Sky ran, right? And he fucking
that guy. What happened to that guy? Is he in jail?
I don't know. Remember, he was supposed to make Toronto the Bitcoin city. I don't think
you weren't at the conference last year or 2 years ago, whenever it was, and he had like these two people like who snuck up on me for a picture with him and said that he wanted to come on the show.
The Toronto conference. That was like
yeah.
after. Yeah, I went home for.
That was a mess. That guy's so fucking weird. Anyway, yeah, would he have been a better mayor? I don't know. Hard to say. Pretty hard. What about Anthony Fury? Anthony Fury ran and lost, and like would he have been better? I don't know. Who's going to be next? Who's going to emerge as a mayoral candidate? Now you have this like really just raging tire fire in Toronto. Bitcoiners unaffected, obviously, but you know, like there's a lot of people who are just begging for change. I don't know that you can fix this now in 1 term or 2 terms or 1 decade or 2 decades.
How long does Chow have? She's like
she's got 2 years to go, right? In this term, so she might run right
for sure. But after that,
what else is she going to do? Where else is she going to go?
I don't know. You're right.
But we're not going to take her into the CBP stable. We're not giving her a show. So where else is she going to go?
Should we offer her? No, hell no. No.
As long as there's no camera, sure.
Here's something that's interesting. In BC, the government of BC was hoping to hand out citizens of BC $1,000 grocery rebate. But people that were expecting that, unfortunately, got rug pulled because the BC government decided to stop this payment. As well, they're going to be doing a hiring freeze for some public sector jobs. And they're blaming Trump's tariffs as a reason for these
Holy Christ. Unbelievable.
This $1,000 grocery rebate was an election promise, and it was supposed to go to each family. But they now say it's delayed until 2026. So could be longer than that. For people that were hoping for this and voted them in strictly for this, not happening.
How much do you think it costs to fill one of those safe supply vending machines in BC?
More than $1,000
for sure, for sure. And to house, you know, a bunch of, I'll call them junkies. I work with that community or volunteer with that community. These people know how bad they had it, and you know they can't give out these checks now because I don't know. Yeah, and Paulie in the chat, David Eby banned liquor from only red states. Like these people they're not serious people. They're just not serious people, you know. And they're we can't do this because of Trump's tariffs. Trump's tariffs they've not even landed yet. However bad you think it is right now, David Eby, it's going to get so much worse if you guys don't shape up. And like, by the way, the fentanyl czar that was appointed is like a Liberal Party loyalist and crony. Like, that's tough, man. Sam Cooper. You can say what you want about Cooper. A lot of people say he's got an axe to grind with the Liberal government for reasons unknown. I don't know if that's true or not. I somehow doubt it, honestly. Looney Hours had him on. Mike Campbell's had him on. I think we could probably get him if we wanted. He's doing some unbelievable work on this whole fentanyl thing, border thing, and organized crime thing, talking about how there's links between the Chinese Communist Party and certain high-ranking members of parliament, including at the PMO. And, like, you know, he's getting shit on by everybody for it. One of the things he brought up, and I thought it was a valid point, you know, the Trump administration knows who can and can't be a responsible fentanyl czar, border person. And this guy was not on that list, unfortunately. And I think the tariffs are going to come sooner than later. It's all the big problem I have, Len, and you can tell me if I'm wrong with this. Was this avoidable? You know, if we had lived in the world that was in front of us instead of just thinking we were going to get some fantasy land, whether economically, culturally, socially, from an un-American election or a European Union strong position. Like
it was unavoidable. It was
think?
unavoidable.
Yeah.
If we lived in a world where there was zero fentanyl crossing through the borders, zero illegal immigrants crossing the borders, Trump would have found something else. It probably would have been the protection of Canada, which United States seems to be providing in proxy. And they'll say, you know what, because of that, we're going to impose tariffs. He's using this whole tariffs thing as a bargaining chip. And if it wasn't this narrative to use a bargaining chip, you'd find another one. So there was no way to avoid it. It's just, this is what he sees as currency, and he's going to use it.
God bless him. And God bless you guys for listening and watching.
No, there's one last story I want to just bring up.
Wow. Okay.
And I'm going to just put it in the chat. This is the news article in case you want to read it. I'm just going to say this is from the mid 19th century story, and it came up on CTV News. I'm just going to read the headline and we'll end it at that.
Okay.
It's a Black transgender woman testimony helped ratify the 14th Amendment. Then conservatives began attacking her identity. What the fuck? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for
Thanks everyone for
in.
tuning in to the Canadian Bitcoiners podcast. And we'll see you Wednesday. Me, Scott Wolf, tune in 11 a.m. Till then, take care of yourselves.
Don't be a cock.